Hello friends. In my last video I was talking about the Django apps where I was discussing the product app of this particular project whose name is second. In this video I will talking about a particular route and we will discuss how data was getting stored inside Postgres. In my last video I said that I have connected my database Postgres with my application and how to insert record with the help of Postman. That's what I will be exploring more in detail in this particular video. So over here I have got a particular route called API slash. So if I come to my Postman, localhost colon 8000 is the default path that you have to write followed by slash API, and then this API will take us to the product, which is my Django app, and over there I have got Django app. The app itself also has got URLs. So over here I have one particular route called register underscore product. So that's what I've written over here, register underscore product, and then this route will take us to this particular view. So let's explore what is there inside this view. And here we are. In this video I will go through this entire code snippet so that you understand how exactly the data is getting stored inside the model, or to be specific, inside entity. So what is written at the very first statement? Here we are giving a call to the decorator. I stated in my previous video that this particular application, this particular project, makes use of REST framework. So the REST framework would provide us a special decorator called app underscore view decorator. What this decorator is stands for is, like, if I click over here you can see that it's coming from REST underscore framework dot decorator. The purpose of the decorator is ensure that this particular view will work only if the HTTP request is of type post. I repeat, the decorator ensure that this particular view, well, this is actually a function based view, that this view would work if and only if it is a post API. So it will not work for other APIs like get, put, delete. Okay, so that's what it ensures. So when I will be inserting the data through Postman, I have to make the HTTP request as type post. That's the compulsion. And now here is my function, here is my view. I give the name as register underscore product. It's your choice, whatever name you feel you can give it. It is going to accept the data coming from the terminal in the form of Postman. So Postman is going to send the data in the form of JSON. See, I'm passing a JSON data, so it's going to be raw JSON. So this data will get stored inside the request, and this request is of type HTTP request. So that the data coming from Postman, or it can be even a mobile application, the data is getting stored inside this request parameter, which is of type HTTP. Like over here if you see, it's coming from Django.htp. So here exactly the data is getting stored. So if you remember that how was my model structure, so let me show you the model even. So here is my model. The model has got following attributes, so I have to ensure that these are all compulsory fields. I need to provide all the data. So name is there, description, price, brand, category. Well, the category is coming from this particular table, so the value which I will provide in this category should be any one of these. Okay, so let's go with, well, this particular data is already there in the Postgres. So if I click on the run button, you will see these two tuples are already there. So let's go for one more insertion. So I will be writing over here, let me write over here like HP printer. Okay, and the description is like good, it's good. Let me put it like this way, it's good. The price is around 15,000, and this is also HP smart. I'm writing it like this, HP smart, and what is the category, let it be of type electronics. So I copy this one and I put it over here. Oh sorry, I put it over here in the Postman. It is category electronics. The stock, let it be like 13, and the user is admin, because in my last video I created one user, super user called admin. So that's the username I have to give over here. So these are the attribute that I need to pass for this particular model, and create a table. This will be there by default. So let's come back to the view again. So all these input I'm going to pass, and these are the keys. Name, look over here, name is there, description, price, brand, category, stock, user. This should match with this following keys that is coming from the postman. And subsequently these are the same variables. I have created the same name for the variables. Okay. Now the first check what you have to do is that I'm going for a try catch block. The first check what you have to do is that the user name which I have provided is called admin. I want to ensure that there is a user by this particular name called admin. So I'm going for, first what I'm doing is that I'm picking up all the data that is there in the table that is comes automatically by Django, that is called users. So it is coming from django.contrib.auth.model. So user is an inbuilt table that Django provides, and with the help of ORM objects.get, it will pick up all the data, provided there is one condition. The condition is good, is that whatever username I have given right over here, that is called admin, it will go and check that by admin is there any user exist whose username is admin. If the condition is true, then it will pick up that particular table, that particular row, and will store inside this variable. Okay, so either this particular variable will have one single row, or otherwise it does not. So let's consider if it does not exist. So here is the exception that is taking in picture, that inside the user model this particular variable is not initialized. That means there is no such record. In that case it does not exist. If it's true, then we'll return this particular message called user does not exist. So let me do it intentionally. Suppose I put one extra n over there just to check what happens by default, and I click on the send button, and immediately you see this particular error message gets in this picture. That is the error, user does not exist, and here the type of request that is 400. So that's the reason why it's coming from here. The state is 400. So from here this particular message is coming. So that means before you store the record, you have to ensure that the user name which you have given over here should be a valid one. That means it should exist inside the table. Let's come to the model over here. I have got the auth user, and look over here. Let me right click on this. Let me go to the view, and if I check it over here, you will find there is a user called admin. So this is the user I'm tracking over there, right? Okay, so far so good. Now what if I give a valid user? In that case this condition is not going to be, it will be having a record, so the exception part will not going to work. Now we are going to check one more exception, that is all the attribute, did I fill all the data? That's what I have to ensure. If any of the attributes is left blank, then I'm going to get this error once again, all field required. Now let's do it intentionally. Suppose I am removing the stock from here, so I'm chopping it out, so the stock attribute is no longer there, and let's click on the send button. Let's see what happens. In that case, see, all field required, this error message comes in picture, and the status is 400. So this time the user is there, but one of the field is missing. That's the reason this error got executed. But if all the fields are there, in that case it will come to the else part, and then what it is going to do, it is going to create what, like, can you figure out what this particular line refers to? Well, this line is referring to the model product. So let me click on this, and here is my model. So this model is actually a class, and when we create a class, then by default there would be a constructor of this particular class, right? Otherwise how you create an instance? So there would be a default constructor that will be created, and that's where this particular thing is coming in picture. So this is basically giving a call to a parameterized constructor. I repeat, this is giving a call to a parameterized constructor which actually exists for this particular class. So this particular parameterized constructor is going to pass the following parameters, and once this parameterized constructor get fired, what you're going to get out of this? You're going to get an instance, and that instance is right over here. Okay, so that means, do remember, when the class name and the method name both are same, then you are creating a constructor. Although I didn't write the construction over here, by default underscore underscore init underscore underscore, by that name the constructor is there by default. So I created this particular instance, and that instance right over here. Now what I have to do is that I have to save this instance in my table, in my database table entity, right? And for that reason I'm giving a call to the save method. Now once it has been saved, you have to send a response, and that response will let the user know that actually the tuple got saved. So for that reason I created one JSON object over here, and this JSON object is having a dictionary, okay, in the form of key value pair. So message I wrote the message and the product name what I've given inside this variable, that what I'm printing. You can print as many attribute you want, it's up to your choice. Now this particular response I have to forward it back to the user, so for that reason I'm writing return response. This is response is coming from Django REST Framework. See over here, REST Framework is from coming, and it is in the form of key value pair again. So this particular object which I have mentioned that I wrote over here, and the status is 200, where the record will be saved successfully. So let's come over here, and before that let me go and click on the table once again, just to show you that it's still with the 2 record that is there. But now I will fire this particular object, and I believe the record should be created this time, and yes, the record got created, and you can see status is 200 because it's 200 over here, and this was the exact object that we have forwarded. The message, the following message came, and the product name came. So since the record got saved in the table, so I believe if you go to the PostgreSQL, and if you click on the run button, definitely you are going to see the 3rd record, and here it comes. Bingo, HP printer, that what I wrote over here, exactly the same thing what you were seeing. Alright, so that's how this particular record got inserted, and this all is possible with the help of what? With the help of Django REST Framework. So we were working on the DRF, and DRF is providing us the decorator, and with the help of the decorator I specify which particular request type it is, and eventually you complete the post request. Now before I end this video, I would like to add one information over here. This whole functionality what I achieved, it was without using REST Framework serializer. I repeat, in this particular functionality I did not use the serializer provided by REST Framework. So you can also implement serializer. In that case this code snippet will be reducing to a large extent. So there are basically 2 approaches are maintained. One, without serializer, then this will be the sample code snippet, and the other one which I will be showing in my one of the video where I will be using serializer, then this code will reduce drastically down. So you are free to use both the approaches, but you must know either of them. Okay, so at the end of this video we understood how to perform a REST implementation of post HTTP request. In my next video I will be talking about the other API, that is a GET. As you can see over here, I have one more route which will talk about the GET response. Until then, have a nice time, take care, bye bye.